The Tyranny of the Calendar, originally published on September 29th, 2015. Okay, so which of the Sloth Investor's 5 bedrock principles does this article connect to? Well, on this occasion, it's the bedrock principle of time that is the most significant connection. I'm sure it'll soon become clear why this article connects so well to my 4th bedrock principle. I'll begin now with key extracts from this illuminating article. About 4.6 billion years ago, a cloud of hydrogen and dust collapsed and gave birth to our sun. Then, 4.5 billion years ago, some comet debris coalesced and formed planet Earth. The laws of physics mean the gravitational pull of the former pulls the latter around its orbit every 365.25 days. Somewhere along the way, we decided that this orbit, 1 year, is the perfect amount of time to measure a money manager's performance against. But why 1 year returns? Why not 13 months, or 2.5 years, or 5.21 years? You should expect year-to-year stability in investing returns if there is something special about a year. But there's not. A money manager is looking for exploitable opportunities, not all of which will fit neatly into a time period governed by the gravitational pull of a celestial ball of gas. Anyone using astrology to measure future returns is considered a lunatic, but almost everyone uses it to measure past returns. To me, the problem is that an obsession with the calendar pushes investors to focus on beating the market each year, which is a perfectly insane, unattainable goal. No one can do it. But managers feel like they have to do it because it's the standard measure of performance. Many managers will be fired by investors after a bad year. Their only hope is a desperate, rarely successful attempt to fit outperformance within the time frame of Earth's orbit. Does anyone see how crazy this is? People use 1 year returns to show how hard it is to beat the market, but I wonder if the biggest challenge to beating the market is the pressure to do it in 1 year intervals. Part of me gets it. Performance has to be measured, and measures need a yardstick, however arbitrary. We might have a different list of baseball greats if players were allowed 2 strikes instead of 3, and a different list of Super Bowl champions if a quarter lasted 16 minutes rather than 15. But the line has to be cut somewhere. Investing, though, is personal. All that matters is performance between today and your end goal, not the individual years in between. Better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late, Shakespeare said. I imagine that's a tyrannical mindset of so many investors fighting to outperform by December 31st. I don't ever want to go there. So, at the start of this video, I mentioned that my 4th bedrock principle of time is the most obvious connection to this article. This data from the New York Stock Exchange suggests that few investors actually commit to holding their shares for a long time period. As of June 2020, the average holding period of shares was just 5.5 months. That's a massive decrease from the late 1950s peak of 8 years. How can we explain the reasons for this short-term holding period? After all, the ability to be patient is truly so critical to one's success as an investor. But modern life, and perhaps most notably our smartphones, has conditioned us to immediate gratification. Yes, at the click of a finger, we become accustomed to immediate reward. So much of our contemporary life is defined by this need for speed, this need to be rewarded in an instant. However, being more patient is a sensible, rational approach to investing. I'm fond of this tweet that Morgan Housel wrote in November 2020. It states, "Be more patient in investing is to sleep 8 hours of health." Sounds too simple to take seriously, but will probably make a bigger difference than anything else you do. Adopting a patient approach towards investing truly is one of the best pieces of investment advice you're ever likely to hear. Simple advice, yet sadly not followed by enough investors. Okay, so these were my key insights from Tyranny of the Candor, an illuminating article on the short-termism of so many investors. You'll find a link to the original article in the description to this video. For those unfamiliar with the writing of Morgan Housel, I recommend his fantastic book, The Psychology of Money, which has now sold over 2 million copies. You'll find a link to the book in the description to this video. In episode 16 of the Sloth Investor Podcast, I discussed key takeaways from this book with my co-host Jay. Moreover, in episode 20, we discuss why Morgan Housel is worthy of inclusion in the Sloth Investor Hall of Fame. You'll find the links to both of these videos in the description to this video. If you enjoyed this bite-sized video, then you may want to check out my Bite-sized Bogle and Bite-sized Buffett playlists. You'll find the links for both of these playlists in the description to this video. To keep up to date with the latest content from the Sloth Investor, whether this be my book reviews, my podcast, or other video content, please remember to subscribe to this channel.